show me how to record on this actually. So I've been having a lot of dreams. The day before yesterday, I had this dream, but I know exactly what the Lord, I think, was trying to say to me. And last night, I dreamt I think it was in America. I was in America, and it looked like I was going to a premiere. And everybody was dressed so nice, but I was dressed like the most beautiful. I was wearing this, I could tell that the material was very expensive. I was wearing this gown with a scarf around me that was also made from silk, and I was just looking so gorgeous. And I was walking towards this premiere, and you had to be somebody to go to this premiere. Yes. You couldn't just go in. And I know that I was invited, and all of a sudden there was a plot twist in the dream. They were kicking me out. Somebody was carrying me out, and they were saying that I was an imposter and I didn't belong there. And they kicked me out, and then I landed on the streets. And I had no money, no connections. I had an iPhone, but I didn't know how to use it, so I couldn't go anywhere. And then I saw this young girl, and I said, "Can you call this guy for me?" Maybe because it was getting dark, and I was in the middle of a big city, and I didn't have anywhere to live. I had no credit cards, I had no money, I had no connection. So I asked this girl, I said, "I've got a phone, I don't know." I didn't want to sound like I was too dumb to use an iPhone, so I said to her, "I can't see, I've lost my sight, and I can't see the letters. Can you dial Andrew for me?" And then she dialed Andrew, but I had many Andrews in my phone. So I heard my father-in-law is also called Andres. So I said, "No, you died," because I could hear him saying hello, hello in his French accent. And then I switched off. I said to her, "No, not Andre, call Andrew." And then somehow I wanted to reach out to Andrew, my Benji's football trainer. And I called him and I said, "Andrew," and he was staying in that city. And I said, "Andrew, I'm stuck. I've got nowhere to stay. Can I come and just stay one night with you until I sort myself out with tomorrow?" And he said, No, Pam, you can't come here. I was like, "Andrew, I'm in a very dangerous situation. I need somewhere to stay. I've got no food. I've got nothing." And he said, "No, you can't come here." And then as I was walking away, I saw this other girl come towards me. She was a very beautiful young girl. I started talking to her, and I realized that she was a Christian, and she told me that she was from Zambia also. Then I explained my situation to her, and I said, "I've got nowhere to stay." And she said to me, "Well, the thing is that I stay in like a hostel with other students, other girls. It's very strict to bring guests there, but since you're a Christian, you can come and stay with me. I'll sneak you in." So she took me into a room, and then she went like downstairs to get food, and then she came back and she said, "Pam, I'm really sorry, but they saw you on the CCTV coming in, and they've asked me to kick you out." And she said, "I'm really sorry, I'd have loved to keep you, but we're not allowed to keep you in this hostel. You have to go back on the streets." And I was back on the street. I was so desperate, I had nowhere to stay. And then I realized I was homeless. And then there was another plot twist in the dream. All of a sudden, I was back in my home here. And my neighborhood, what I realized as soon as I was back in my home, that the back of my house was overgrown. It was just like a bush. There was dog poo, everything filthy that you could think of was in my back garden. And I was overwhelmed. I was thinking, how am I going to clean this? And then all my neighbors started coming in, and they were all just really beautiful people, nice people. And I watched as they started cleaning up my back garden, sweeping, cutting the grass, and it took like a whole day to cut it and to clear it. And then I realized under that rubble, under all that filth, was actually a jacuzzi, a swimming pool, a fish pond. It was so beautiful. And as I was sitting watching, this man who I knew, but now I can't remember, came and sat next to me, and he opened a book, and he had he opened a page, and on that paper was a soldier, and he had the full armor on, and he started telling me, "Do you know what the helmet is?" And he explained to me the whole armor of God And then he looked at me and he said, pray 5 times a day. And I said, 5 times a day? I have been thinking about that, but isn't that for the Muslims? And he didn't say anything, he just said 5 times a day. And I woke up.
Oh, wow. And then you woke up?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I went downstairs to pray, and I remember saying to the Lord, 5 times a day, Lord, where am I going to find time to pray 5 times a day? You know?
Wow. Did the Lord give you an explanation or revelation about what it means?
No.
It's very vivid, huh?
Yeah. And I'm remembering a lot of my dreams now because I remember also very vividly what I dreamt the day before yesterday. Yeah.
So when did you dream this?
Last night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. What about your other dreams?
So the night before, I dreamt I was back because I've been crying out to the Lord after my depression because I lost a lot of time spirituality. My spirituality took a dive nose because I wasn't praying. I was just
Everybody's been on the turn.
yeah. So I've been praying to the Lord. I'm like, Lord, bring me back where I was. Actually, I want to go even higher than I was. My ministry is a thing of the past. I used to have a Bible study group in my house. I used to have a thriving ministry on social media. I have like a prayer group now on, and I want that. I used to wake up at 5 o'clock to pray. Now it's like my alarm goes at 7 and I'm struggling to wake up. I was like, Lord, give me that fire again. I've been crying out to him. So 2 days ago, I dreamt I was back in Zambia. And it just happened. I was back in Zambia after I'd lived in the Western world like for more than 30 years. But I arrived in Zambia. I had nothing to show for it. I was skint actually. So I was staying with my auntie. But my auntie was staying in the wrong side of the town, not a very nice neighborhood called Uzakili. That's where the people were not very educated. It was like I was staying in Croydon, for example. I don't know that really not. Like in Peckham, they were staying in Peckham. And I was saying to my auntie, no auntie, I don't want to stay in Uzakili. My friends are going to laugh at me. Everybody knows that I've been abroad. I can't stay here. I want to move to Parkside or Riverside, and that is like Parkside or Riverside is like Kensington. Yeah. And my auntie was like, no, Pam, we don't have that kind of money to live in Parkside. And I was determined to go back to Parkside, so I decided I was going to leave them the family house in Uzakili, and I was going to go and rent a lodge in Parkside. But even to lodge in Parkside was very expensive, and I had no money. And I decided I was going to get a job. But the funny thing is that in Zambia, I'm quite well connected. I mean, I've got cousins and uncles who've got really great positions. And in my dream, I did not start a gym because if I started a gym in Zambia, I probably would get a lot of coverage. I've got friends who work in the media. They'll probably put it on TV. I know most of the people that I went to school with are the ones like who are the top lawyers now, the top engineers, you know. Or I could. There was nothing in the dream like I would call Chris to give me some money. I start a business. The Lord just said to me, start selling kapenta. Kapenta, is everybody. When I say in my country, kapenta are small dry fishes. Very small dry. But the people who sell kapenta in my country are not educated. It's like a very low job to do. The Lord said to me, start selling kapenta, and I don't want you to build an empire where you send a group of people to. Because I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna get like some girls and some boys, and I'm gonna pay them. They go and get kapenta at the sea, and then they bring it in back. And the Lord said to me, no, you're gonna be going there to get the kapenta. You're gonna start distributing it yourself. So at that point, I realized that I had to take out my hair, my nails, and all my frills and buckle up.
Wow.
And that's what I started doing. I started selling kapenta.
Wow. And then what happened?
And then I woke up.
So that was 2 days ago.
Yeah. And then last night I dreamt about when I was thrown out from the yeah.
What was the
Those-
dream before that one? Before the carpenter. How do you spell that?
Carpenter.
See, like in carpenter?
No, Kapenta. Carpenter. Yeah.
Okay. So what was the dream before that?
Um,
Before the second?
the dream before that, I think I've forgotten because the night before I decided I'm going to start writing my dreams down. Yeah.
Wow.
Because the Lord just put it in my heart. Like 3 days ago, He said to take note of your dreams.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you think it means? Any idea? Any revelation?
The first one, I understand that the locations, the two locations,
So Hollywood.
no, the first one, the two locations.
Okay, the carpenter.
Yeah, the carpenter, I understood that they were spiritual locations. And I've been wanting the Lord to take me from point A to this, you know. And I understood in my spirit, even when I woke up, that He's asking me that He can't bring me there with all these things that I've got. And what He wants me to do, it will have nothing to do with who I'm connected to or who I'm not connected to. I have to be connected to the Holy Spirit because my assignment, the fish, I understood that the small fishes represented people. He wants me to catch people.
The low people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, He's sending me to the lowly. Yeah, and I have to be lowly. Yeah, and that's what I understood from the first one. From last night,
Looking at the flower.
yeah, I still have not really processed it actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, in the first dream, is your auntie, the auntie that you... What's significant about that auntie?
Pardon?
You know the dream where you
Yeah.
went to...
Yeah.
Is it Rosendale, the area?
Uzakili. Uzakili, but she was living in Uzakili, not a nice neighborhood, and I wanted to go and live in Parkside.
Yeah. So who is she? I mean,
She's my mother's sister. Yeah, she's my mother's sister. She's very close to me. She sort of raised when my mom was. So my mom had me when I was very young. So my mom had to go back to school and had to go back to training. So I was usually with my aunties or my grandmother or the workers, and my mother sometimes would be gone like for a whole year to college. Yeah. So this is my mother's immediate young sister who I spent a lot of time with when I was young.
And she's a Christian.
Yes.
So it's almost like going back to roots. Now we're talking about Mimi's naming.
Yes.
Going back to your roots.
Yeah. In the first dream, actually, I understood that God was asking me to go back to the first love. Yeah.
Because that's when you became born again. When did you become born again? Do you remember?
17 years ago. I became born again on the 27th of September 2007.
Harvest time, the New Year, the Jewish New Year, one of the Jewish New Years starts, but it's the Feast of Tabernacles.
It's so funny that this dream of me dressed in that outfit coincides. It's exactly 10 years ago that I had another dream when I moved here in 2014. I had another dream. This is a dream that I remember. This is when I got my... this is when I felt like the Lord really called me to teach the word. I remember I was in Amsterdam. I'd moved here and I was back in Amsterdam. And that time I was like 7
Is this
years.
the dream or the background?
The dream 10 years ago that I
Okay,
had.
so tell me about the dream 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So in the dream, you moved from Wilton to Amsterdam.
No, in the dream, I had just moved to Weybridge. I just moved to England. I just arrived in England. But in the dream, I was back in Amsterdam, but I was not yet born again. I was still living in Amsterdam in my very glamorous circles, and I was with all the people that I used to hang out with in Amsterdam. And I was dressed in this Donna Karan silk dress. I still have it, and it's open here. And I was wearing very high shoes, and I was sitting there with all the people that I used to hang out with before I got born again. We used to we were called the it people, you know. And we were sitting there drinking champagne, and it was really nice and cozy. And then all of a sudden, something prompted me to look in the sky. And I looked in the sky. It was so dark in the sky. But I seemed to be the only one who was noticing that the sky had changed. And there was chaos, there was terror. It was like there was war in the sky. And I was the only one for some reason who noticed it. And I was wearing high heels like the stilettos, and I started running. And I was running so fast in those high heels, and then all of a sudden, I was on a beach. I was running on a beach with the high heels, and I got tired. And as I looked up, I realized the sky was still crazy, and I was running. I was so scared, and I took off the high heels, and I threw them away. And I was running in this dress, very long dress, and then I just got tired, and I stopped, and I looked up like this, and the sky, the dark sky, the terrible, terrifying sky was far behind me, and on top of me was a cloud, and I was so scared of this cloud, I started running again, and then I couldn't run anymore, and I stopped, and the cloud stopped also in front of me, and then I was like this looking at the cloud, and the cloud opened, and when it opened, a book came out of the cloud like this, and then the book opened. And I was trying to gaze into the book. I was like, I was so scared. I was terrified. And I knew, somehow I knew that the Bible was the word of God. And it closed, and it went back into the cloud. And the cloud closed, and it lifted back again.
And then what happened?
And then I woke up. And then I woke up, and that day I woke up. The next day I started my Facebook ministry, and it grew like crazy. And then Facebook shut it down.
Yes, it's the word of God.
I worked on it for 6 years. I mean, people were tuning in. It was like people were waiting. The moment I logged in, within 30 minutes, there were 1,000 views, people waiting, and it was shared. And then, out of nowhere, Facebook just shut it down. They just
6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've shut down a lot of people all over the place. They've shut down a lot of Christians.
Yeah.
A lot of people posting the truth. Posting yours, posting the truth.
Yeah.
Because there are still Christians who are sharing, and they don't shut down there. But anybody posting the truth is shut down.
Yeah.
So the dream you had this morning, there was a book again in that one.
No, I didn't have
last night.
Yeah, I didn't have the book. It was a guy. Yes, it was a guy who came. It was like a paper. He had the book, but it was like a paper. And he showed me a soldier with the armor on. And he was telling me, he was pointing out the parts of the armor. He said, "You see this helmet? And what is this?" He was asking me, "What is this?" And I said, "It's the breastplate." And he looked at me and I said, "Oh, sorry, it's the shield." And then he started pointing at the parts, and I named them. I named all of them. And then that's all he said to me. He said, "Pray 5 times a day."
So it was a paper that came
Yes,
down.
yes,
Books,
yeah. He had a paper, and he had drawn, and the
paper that he had drawn.
Exactly, he had drawn the soldier on it. Yeah.
Wow. So obviously these are instruction dreams, right? Because Bible says in the book of Job, 38 that got speaks warnings and instructions to when a man is asleep, when you're asleep. So the Lord's definitely. Wow. So you got to start praying. So you're going to start praying 5 times a day. It's very clear. You're going to put on the armor of God, pray for protection, right? That's what the armor is all about. And if you are to go out to the little fishes, like also before you can reach people out on a massive platform, and then now we are unable to reach people out on Facebook because as soon as you put anything, they don't even circulate it.
Exactly. They just shut it out. They don't show it to anybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, is Facebook now called or is it the dead now? It's called Meta.
Meta, yeah. And Twitter is now called X.
Yeah. X for exterminate. And mentor is the Jewish word for death.
Really?
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah. So it's now, so before it was Facebook, the book of faces, the book of life. So now it's Meta, which is the book of death, the death book. It's Hebrew for death, for the dead. So anything that brings life gets shut down. Anything that brings life gets shut down. So basically, because you can't really reach people now. All the people who have Facebook ministries, everybody's been shut down. Telling the truth, the real truth. So now, so it seems to relate maybe to the carpenter fish, that you gotta go out. You gotta go out amongst the people. Catch the little fishes, right? The whole homelessness thing is a big thing because God is very concerned. That's why I don't enjoy America. They are systematically making people homeless.
I know, it's
The
crazy.
whole system. So whilst I was there, I had my taste of the system because when I was there, my bank stopped my bank card. And I thought, oh, that's okay, I'll sort it out later because I was prepared. I got 2 bank cards, right? And they weren't satisfied with that. They shut down the second bank card. What? So I phoned them up, like, it's like, oh, why you shut down my card? So, well, there was an online transaction. I said, yeah. So I just paid for a conference ticket. So like, oh, but it registers online. I was like, isn't everything online these days? Oh, well, the system has shut it down. It's to protect you. This is so you're shutting down my entire bank account, my entire access to funds whilst I'm in a different country. I told you I was going to. I went into the branch and said, I am going to be in this country on these days. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be there. I gave them a whole schedule that I was going to be away. Oh, well, we can't do anything about it. So I spent 3 days trying to talk to the bank, trying to speak to people's managers and managers. Oh, it's a system. It's a system. You can unblock your card. All we need you to do is just present yourself in the Metrobank branch. You know what? I was like, well, I'm not going to get there. Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Fitty. I'm so sorry. Anyway, 3 days. You know, so in America, you can't book accommodation, you can't book a hotel or hostel without a credit card. So even if you're paying cash, even in the venues that take cash, but still take cash, you still have to present a credit card for identification purposes and for damages.
It's the same here too, and in Europe.
Yeah, but I think I hope it hasn't changed because in New York, I can go. I've been places and I've just booked over the counter. Pay
Well,
cash.
I travel a lot, and the first thing they ask you when you arrive is your bank details.
Your bank card.
Yeah.
In Europe, they do.
Yeah.
But I thought English still.
Yeah, even here, like when I go, it's the first, even here, because I travel, even within here, I travel quite a bit
Okay.
with my kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So same system in America, and so that was that, and then of course, so people wanted to help me, but they weren't allowed to book a place for me.
They want to out.
No, they could only book a place for themselves. And so, well, how about them paying cash for the accommodation? You could pay cash, but you still needed the credit card of the person's stay. So literally, I was experienced a system where if you do not have a working credit card,
Yeah.
you have no accommodation.
Yeah, which they shut. Your credit card that was working, and it's crazy.
Yeah. So then I realized, well, no wonder there's so many people homeless on the streets of America. Because if you're in a foreign city, and America's so vast, if you travel from one place to the other place, you can't get back. So I thought, well, wow, this is an interesting system. And there was no compassion. Zero
It's like
compassion.
you're talking to robots, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Zero compassion, zero understanding, zero comprehension, zero, okay, well, let's sort this out, let's work. No,
Yeah.
not even that conversation. Not even let's see what we can work out. They didn't even go. Oh, well, wow. But that's why there's so many people. And it's
The system.
It's the system. And the humans are no longer in control of the system. Same thing with my bank. It's their system. We cannot override the system.
It's a matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there I was, and I was like, okay, now it's like, Jesus, you do remember I'm here, right? Like if you didn't send me, I am so sorry. But praise the Lord sent me because then the Lord just organized accommodation for me for 3 weeks. The Lord just literally kept me for 3 weeks in a strange country with $11. I had $11. I thought that, I just had $11 left of my spending money. And so I just thought, what if I didn't have the Lord? What if it wasn't covered by God? I would be on the street. Literally, because just by the compassion of people, the system lost help.
And the only commodity you would have had would have been your body to sell. That's why you see so much women in America selling themselves.
Yes. But then that's a cash economy, which they're getting rid of, right? Oh, I don't know. Let's see. To get sophisticated, to get a card reading machine to take money, but the cash economy, they're getting rid of the cash
All
economy.
these people, what they need, they can still buy in the supermarkets with cash. They can still get drugs with cash. They don't need really much, and they don't travel a lot. Their lives are just around there, and the money just goes through the same hands.
Yes,
Pimping,
which the people are
drugs, food.
Yeah.
Pimping, drugs, food.
Yeah, so people are definitely trapped. People are definitely trapped. I saw a lot of people that were on drugs, but I also saw a lot of people that were not on drugs.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of people who had lost it.
Yeah, especially New York City. It's like it's the most horrible city I've ever been to. I mean, every other person seems to be insane. Every third person seems to be.
California's getting like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Chicago, I was walking there. I saw families, a whole family living under a bridge, families living in a tent on the street. So many homeless. I was thinking, Obama comes from here. Oprah Winfrey, the richest woman in the world, comes from here. Because it's so possible that there's so much poverty.
Yeah, that's how they get rich. It's a lore of high pressure, low pressure. In order for high pressure, very high pressure, there has to be very low pressure. It's the law of opposites. For there to be very wealthy people, there has to be a lot of very poor people. It's a law. It's a law of the universe. It cannot be changed. Law of creation. So for there to be very wealthy people, there has to be a lot of very poor people.
My daughter's been telling me, she said, Mom, you should read the book. She asked me to watch the movie, but she knows that I'm very sensitive. I cannot watch violence. She asked me to watch The Hunger Games. She said, Mom, you should read and watch The Hunger Games. This woman has written how the world is to a T.
Yes, and that was written way before. They did a movie, and I've just seen our world increasingly become like the Hunger Games because it's designed to be like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Designed it to be like that. They're telling us what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the whole TV and the whole social. They're telling us what they're gonna do.
Yeah, look what's happening in Congo.
I don't really know what's happening in Congo. But I guess it's something horrible. But apparently there's 22 wars going on in Africa at the moment. Yeah. I'm like, guys.
Yeah. And the Western world is very involved in them.
Of course. Yeah. Because I'm like, I was watching, somebody was obviously got their iPhone out recording these incoming, I call them spaceships, bombing the cities and the towns. I'm like, well, if it's rebels fighting each other, why are they killing the people in the towns and in the villages? Surely you'll be going out against rebel positions or soldiers. But all the people they were dropping the bombs on were all civilians in the town, women and children, and ordinary people. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so you lot want to tell us that, was it Somalia or Ethiopia? It was like Somalia. It was like, they don't have money to feed their people, or feed themselves, or feed their armies, but they have, where does this money come from to buy space-age American-built?
Where do these rebels who don't have 2 nickels to rub together get money to buy these automatic
multi-billion pound
weapons?
Multi-billion pound weapons.
Yeah.
Like, really? Come on, guys, wake up. Who's driving these planes?
Yeah. Every rebel from the age of 10 years old is carrying a rifle, assault rifle. It's mental.
They don't even have money for food. They have to take drugs, leaf to keep themselves alive.
Yeah.
So people are asleep. Christians are asleep. These are the things that Christians, there should be a Christian army of prayer warriors and intercessors taking these things down. But we're all flicking through Netflix. I was saying to my daughter today, I was like, you're on Love Island season what?
Exactly.
I was like, it's the same naked bodies. It's the same people putting their dirt
imagine that
in other
somebody would
people's
even
house.
watch 10 seconds of Love Island. It's so...
Oh my God, it's addictive. And I'm like, oh man, really? She's been gone for 4 years. She's been at university.
Oh my God. I know my daughters also loved it. I'm like, how can you even watch that for 10 seconds? It's so defiling. It's so... I mean, that's like evil to... It's like, oh my God, just...
It is. It really is. It really is. And you know what? They're using that to take over everywhere. So I went to Israel, and the difference between me turning up in Israel in 2019, turning up in Jerusalem in 2019, where you see all the Israeli men with their beards and their big hats and their big coats, and the wives with the 7 children walking behind them and holding their siddur, their prayer books, going to hotel, keeping the laws, Shabbats from Friday to Saturday where nothing moves and everything is holy. And even then they still had, it wasn't very built up. 2019, just 2019. It was very built up. I mean, you could be walking along and then the road ends and then you're in dirt and dust. And, you're in the, broken down. I mean, they still had the buildings where you can see thousands of years of building where somebody's built something, and it's leaning, it's all wonky. It's just, it's a different world. That was 2019.
Fast forward 4 years.
And I go, so 2020, everybody's banned. 2021, everybody's banned. 2022, I rock up in Jerusalem. And I'm like, where am I? From the train station, I'm like, what the? I was like, where? I got off the wrong stop. Where am I? I literally thought I was in New York.
So all that time they put the whole world on lockdown. They were building.
They literally raised everything down to dust. And now Moxie, Hilton, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Morgan, whatever, literally skyscrapers. I'm like, what the freak? All over Tel Aviv, all over Jerusalem. I'm like, what the? I was like, where am I? Literally.
Do you know that Tel Aviv is one of the main hotspots of gay?
It is the
LGBT?
number one.
Yeah.
It is the number
It's the
one.
capital of gay. When people think Tel Aviv, it's all about LGBTQ. Yeah.
It is. And they shipped all the gay people in. Give them all Israeli passports. So when you go to Tel Aviv, you think, am I supposed to be in Israel? Why are you all Americans? Like, all you gay people are Americans. Like, what the, you know what I'm saying? Literally. Well, like, you Israeli? Oh yeah, I've been here this years. I've been here 2 years. I've been here 6 years. Literally. And they run stuff. They put them in charge of everything. And they, oh my gosh. Literally, they've just shipped them in and shipped out the locals. So these are all the people they've been slaughtering. And Jerusalem, I mean, holy Jerusalem. When I went to Jerusalem, if a girl dressed like that, and she had modern clothes, even though it's nice, she would be seen as, she would not be. Because all the girls would wear the long flowing dresses or the black and white. They were all in the big dresses. You do not see nobody's clothes. That was 2019. I was like, what? My eyes was just popping.
Yeah, but now I saw all the girls who were on TikTok talking about killing the Palestinians. The young girls, they've all got lips and fake eyelashes. They're all so worldly. It's crazy. It's become one of the capitals of
shipped a lot of
plastic surgery. Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
They shipped the culture. So like before, all the shops were modest.
Yeah.
Now they've got the big malls. They've got the big glass shops.
Yeah.
Aces, all the Western brands.
I was
Asics,
shocked the
all
last
that.
time I went to
And they
Zambia.
have the whole glass buildings with near naked models everywhere. So it's in your face everywhere. So the young people are now dressing exactly. I'm like, it's cool.
Yeah.
So you're talking
It's
about
very angry
Zambia?
with them. Zambia is exactly the same. The last time I was there, I was in a shopping mall. I was like, what? This is Zambia? The girls walking around, they all look like supermodels. They're half naked. I